A half-burned village, the smell of fear and smoke. A farmer stands in the mud begging for help, because the local lord raised taxes so high people must choose between feeding their children or paying the crown. This isn't a demon incursion or a religious curse. It's just greed and power, plain and real. The adventurers stand there, gold in pocket, weapons ready, and they realize this fight is not about monsters at all. Hey everyone, I'm Kelfecil, and today on The Adventure Writer, we're diving deep into a topic that shapes truly memorable adventures, adding real-world problems into your fictional world. Stories stick when they reflect the truths we live every day, and you can quote me on that. A well-placed moral struggle or harsh reality turns a throwaway quest into something your players carry long after the dice stop rolling. Using real problems doesn't strip away the magic and wonder of your setting. It deepens it. A city with towering spires is impressive, but when you saw the beggars living in its shadows, suddenly that city feels alive. Players sense the stakes, they understand the cost of power, they start asking questions. Real issues pull players in because they recognize the choices. They tap into their own beliefs, fears, and memories. They see injustice and decide who they really want to be when no dice can save them. The best stories aren't about dragons slain or gold hoarded. They're about people standing for something real in a world that feels just believable enough to matter. Players invest deeper when your world mirrors truths they know. When a town suffers drought and the players must decide who gets the last barrel of water, they connect it to headlines, history, and personal values. The question isn't just, what do we do? But what would I do? That's what lifts your story beyond numbers and dice. Real struggles make every NPC interaction more meaningful. The barmaid isn't just an information source. Maybe she's also hiding debts or fears tied to the village's problems. The shopkeeper's prices aren't unfair greed, they're survival in a broken system. This depth pulls players closer to the setting. Adding familiar issues, whether corruption, poverty, or forbidden love, grounds your high fantasy in something human. Suddenly, the wizard's tower isn't just mystical, it casts a shadow over hungry people below. And your players, they see that shadow. The best part is how these conflicts breathe life into player characters too. Players reveal who they are through how they react to injustice, hunger, or hope. That's the heart of roleplay. How do we go about doing this? Well, you start by asking, what real problems fit naturally in this world? Not every world needs modern politics, but every believable world needs some friction. Pick a struggle that feels woven into your setting. Unfair taxes, power hoarding guilds, old grudges between neighbors. When you choose the right real-world echo, it becomes a spark for adventure. You should also solve these things, don't just tell them. Bring problems to life through NPCs and their daily lives. Let your players see the worried glance of the farmer selling their last cow to pay a lord. Let them taste the stale bread at the tavern that can't afford fresh grain. Each detail grounds the issue in reality. You should be connecting the problem directly to player choices. If they can't influence it, it's just color text. Let them negotiate with the mayor, side with the rebels, or double-cross both for their own gain. Give them multiple angles so their actions leave ripples. At the same time, be flexible. No plan survives contact with players, as we all very well know at this point. They might solve it violently, diplomatically, or completely ignore it. That's fine. Just make sure that the world reacts in some way. Maybe the rebel leader they snapped now holds a grudge, or maybe the people remember who helped them. At the same time, you should be careful about it, because you cannot just treat real problems as cheap drama or shock value. Dropping a heavy real-world issue in the middle of a light-hearted campaign can sour the tone extremely fast. If your world has harsh themes, build them in from the start. Sudden deep trauma feels like a lecture, not a story. Avoid topics that don't belong. A grim struggle for civil rights might clash with a goofy festival arc. A sudden real-world controversy dropped into a fairy tale village pulls everyone out of immersion. Keep your conflicts believable in context. You should also be mindful of your players' lines. Even when everyone agrees they want a gritty story, people do have limits. A moment of well-intended realism can cross into discomfort. If you are ever in doubt, just check in, dial it back, or pivot. Don't let the real-world problem overshadow the entire adventure unless that's the goal. Sometimes a big real issue is a background element, not the main plot. Balance your dramatic beats with levity or fantasy wonder, so the game remains an escape. Just one that makes players think. And most importantly, don't build unsolvable misery. A hopeless situation where players have no agency is just frustrating. It is not fun. Real problems in your world should come with paths. Maybe hard, maybe costly, but always paths that allow players to try and fix them. Another important point that we need to make here is that real problems come with real disagreements. What feels important and meaningful to you might feel uncomfortable or too close to home for someone else at the table. Be prepared for this. Use a session zero or regular check-ins to learn where everyone's boundaries are. Remember that cultural backgrounds shape how players view conflict and morality. What feels like a noble struggle to one person might feel like a forced argument to another. Talk about it openly. Storytelling is stronger when everyone feels safe and heard. And communication in this case really matters. If players are divided on how to handle a big moral dilemma, lean in. Let that tension feed roleplay, but don't let it turn toxic. Guide the table back if debates spill over out of character. Use your GM tools to keep the mood in check. Above all, you should be patient. Sometimes players need time to think about heavy moments. Give them space and flexibility to explore the big questions your story raises, without making them feel trapped in them. This is cool and all, but we do need to talk about why this matters. Real struggles breathe life into your world. They remind players that for every monster slain, someone must live with the aftermath, good or bad. When you weave in relatable conflicts, players see the stakes, feel the consequences, and care more deeply. A world without friction feels flat. When there's nothing to push against, players' choice lose weight. Real problems ground your fantasy, giving your party something to fight for beyond gold or magic items. They also help characters grow. Players discover their own boundaries and ethics when they stand at moral crossroads. They are the stories they'll tell for years because they made choices that felt real. A table that faces real questions together often leaves stronger, more connected. The game ends, but reflections stay. That's why it matters. When it comes to my own personal opinion on all this, I would say that I see so many writers, designers, and storytellers hesitate to weave real struggles into their stories. They worry audiences have grown too sensitive, that touching on injustice, fear, or division might push people away. And yes, some topics will always spark debate. But the truth is, most players don't want stories that tiptoe around everything. They want stories that make them feel something real. Good storytelling is one thing. A good story is a whole other thing. Audiences crave tales that challenge them, reflect truths, and linger after the table is packed away. When you show the ugly edges of your world, greed, grief, corruption, you remind players that they're heroes for a reason. They're there to stand in that darkness and push it back. So don't shy away from real problems. Use them wisely, shape them with care, and trust your players to meet you halfway. That's where the best adventures are found. So where does this all lead? Well, real struggles turn your settings into more than maps and lore. They become places that feel lived in. They challenge your heroes to stand for something that matters. They challenge you, the writer, to handle your world with care and purpose. Don't drop heavy themes carelessly, but don't dodge them because you think your table can handle it. Know your group, set the tone, and build trust. When you do, you'll find the richest moments often come from facing the shadows you place there. And remember to always keep it balanced. Mix moments of hope with hardship. Let your players fix something even if they can't fix everything. That's what makes the hard parts worth it. In the end, a story that reflects real pain and real triumph sticks with people far longer than any monster stat block ever will. That's all for today, and if you enjoyed this dive into storytelling, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tips, tools, and narrative deep dives. Tell me in the comments what real struggles you've explored in your own games and how they made your world feel more alive. If you'd like to support me, then you'll be happy to know that I also run my own Patreon page with new and exclusive ttrpg content releases every single month. A huge thank you to all of my fantastic patrons who, with their amazing support, allow me to keep doing what I love doing the most. Until next time, may Starlight guide your way, my friends. Bye bye!